Systemic cycles in astrology. With peace and love, everybody, we are going to talk about this topic today, including planetary periods, synodic rhythms, generational arcs, collective timing structures, and nested temporal architecture. We see time as structured recurrence from the lunar month to the Plutonian age, visuals, appendices, and glossary. And here we see in the middle systemic cycles and a complete wheel for what we're going to go over in this video. So Jupiter, 12 years, Mars, 1.9 years, Sun, 1 year, Venus, 225 days, Mercury, 88 days, Moon, 27.3 days, Uranus, 84 years, and Saturn, 29.5 years. So, we begin with the introduction. Astrology is a study of systemic cycles. So astrology is fundamentally a science and art of cycles. The apparent motions of the luminaries and planets generate nested periods that structure both individual biography and collective history. A systemic approach treats these periods not as isolated events, but as interlocking rhythms, personal cycles embedded within social cycles themselves, embedded within generational and historical arcs. This compendium organizes the principal systemic cycles used in traditional and modern practice from the lunar month to the outer planet generations and shows how the nests reinforce and modulate one another. So I know this got blended in there, but it says historical at top. And then we see collective, we see social, personal, and these are nested systemic cycles, personal, inside, collective, nested architecture, personal, social, collective, and historical cycles. So now we're going to get into lunar and short period cycles. So the lunar month family, sidereal month is moon to return to the same star. Synodic month is new moon to new moon phase cycle. Draconic month, the node to node eclipse cycle foundation, and anomalistic month, perigee to perigee. These periods generate the metonic cycle, 19 years equals 235 synodic months, the Saros, and the rhythm of lunations that underpins electional and horary work. Mercury and Venus cycles. So Mercury's synodic period averages 116 days. Its sidereal orbital period is 88 days. Venus's synodic period is 584 days, and its orbital period 225 days. Both produce distinctive retrograde cycles that structure communication, commerce, and relational themes in personal and mundane charts. The 5-fold Venus pentagram, 8 Earth years equals 13 Venus years, is one of the most elegant short systemic patterns. Social planet cycles, Jupiter and Saturn. So Jupiter, 12 years, Jupiter returns to its natal place approximately every 12 years. The cycle marks expansions of opportunity, belief, and social horizon. Quadrant returns every 3 years. And the Jupiter-Saturn synodic cycle, 20 years, are primary mundane timers for political and economic climates. Saturn, 29.5 years. So Saturn's orbital period of roughly 29.5 years produces a classic Saturn return. The first near ages 28 through 30, the second near 57 through 60, and the third near 86 through 90. Traditional and modern astrologers alike treat these as structural thresholds of maturity, responsibility, and reorientation. Intermediate hard aspects, squares, opposition at 7 to 8 year intervals subdivide the cycle. The 3 primary Saturn returns across a human lifespan. So we see Saturn return cycle. So birth, starting at 0 degrees. First return, 29 through 30. Second return, 58 through 60. And third return, 86 through 90. And we see Jupiter-Saturn synodic cycle is 20 years. The conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn recurs every 19.6 to 20 years and shifts through the triplicities over centuries. The mutation cycle. Medieval and Renaissance mundane astrology regarded these conjunctions as primary markers of dynastic and religious change. The full elemental mutation cycle spans roughly 800 years. Synodic phase cycle is the aspect rhythm. So any 2 planets form a synodic cycle, measured from conjunction to conjunction. And within that cycle, the major aspects mark developmental phases. Waxing square, first crisis. Opposition, full manifestation. Waning square, second crisis, and return. This phase structure, first systematized in modern form by Dane Rudar and others, applies equally to sun-moon lunations. and to outer planet pairs. So we see the synodic cycle phases, conjunction, opposition, and conjunction. We see new with conjunction, crisis 1 with waxing square, opposition full, crisis 2 waning square, and return conjunction. Generic synodic cycle phases from conjunction to conjunction. Alright. So, in mundane work of the synodic cycles of Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn, Saturn, Uranus, Saturn, Neptune, and Saturn, Pluto are especially potent collective timers, so their conjunctions, squares, and oppositions repeatedly coincide with geopolitical and economic turning points. Now we're going to look at generational and historical cycles, the outer planets. So Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto move so slowly that their sign placements and mutual aspects characterize entire generations and historical epochs. So outer planet generational arcs, we see Uranus 84 years, Neptune 165 years, Pluto 248 years, Node 18.6 years, Characteristic periods of the outer planets and the lunar nodes. So Uranus, when Uranus cycle approximates a human lifespan, Uranus through the signs marks tech and social revolutions. Its return for those who reach it is a late life awakening. We see Uranus-Neptune and Uranus-Pluto cycles structure longer rays of innovation and upheaval. Neptune's orbital period spans roughly 2 human lifetimes. Its passage through a sign lasts about 14 years and colors the collective ideals, illusions, and spiritual longings of the cohorts born under it. Neptune-Pluto synodic cycles, 500 years, are among the longest routinely examined in historical astrology. Pluto's highly eccentric orbit yields a variable sign transit 12 to 30 or more years. Generational signatures built as transformation of power, survival themes, and collective shadow. Pluto's return to a single place in a national tour, for example, the United States Pluto return near 2022, is treated as a major systemic checkpoint. Lunar node cycle. The lunar nodes regress to the zodiac in approximately 18.6 years. The nodal cycle governs eclipse seasons, collective fated themes, and the oscillation between Rahu and Ketu release. So that's Rahu growth and Ketu release. Nodal returns and oppositions are significant in both natal and mundane work. Symbolic cycles, progressions, and directions. So beyond astronomical periods, astrology employs symbolic time measures that convert short intervals into long ones. Of course, secondary progressions. 1 day after birth equals 1 year of life. We see the progressed moon completes its cycle in 27 to 28 years. Progressed sun advances 1 degree per year. Solar arc directions, the sun's secondary arc applied uniformly to all points. Roughly 1 degree equals 1 year. Primary directions, a classical method based on diurnal rotation, degree of right ascension, or semi-arc proportional to life years. Profections. Traditional annual advancement of 1 sign per year or 1 house per year, generating a repeating 12-year systemic rhythm. And these techniques create additional systemic layers that interact with the astronomical cycles of the transiting planets. Mundane systemic structure. This is how we put cycles to work. The systemic mundane reading typically layers long generational arcs, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus sign placements and mutual aspects, social planet clocks, Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions, and their elemental mutations, Saturn outer planet cycles, intermediate timers, Mars-Saturn, eclipse seasons, nodal axis shifts, annual and monthly pulses, ingress charts, lunations, planetary stations, national and foundation charts, transits, returns, and progressions to the radical angles, and significators of states and institutions. When several systemic layers coincide, for example, Saturn-Pluto conjunction near a national Pluto return and a critical eclipse, the historical record often shows concentrated collective stress or transformation. And here you see appendices. So Appendix A is principal planetary periods with the body, sidereal period, synodic with Earth, and systemic role. So we see Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and the lunar node. And we see the sidereal period. And we also look at the synodic with Earth. And then we'll look at the systemic role, primarily so Moon. We notice its phases, elections, emotion, Mercury, communication, commerce, Venus is values, relation, pentagram, Sun, Earth is annual, seasonal, solar returns, Mars, action, conflict, drive, Jupiter, expansion, 12-year returns, Saturn, structure, returns, maturity, Uranus, revolution, generational, Neptune, ideals, collective dream, Pluto, transformation, deep power, and the lunar node, eclipse seasons, feet axes. So core periods used in systemic astrological timing. And here we see key synodic cycles for mundane work, major synodic cycles employed in historical and mundane analysis. So pair, Brock's period, and primary mundane theme. So Jupiter, Saturn, 20 years, political, economic, climate, mutations, Saturn, Uranus, 45 years, structure versus upheaval, reform crises, Saturn, Neptune, 36 years, ideals versus reality, institutional dissolution, Saturn, Pluto, 33 to 38 years, power, fear, systemic transformation, Uranus, Neptune, 170 years, tech, spiritual epoch shifts, Uranus, Pluto, 110 to 140 years, revolutionary transformation waves, Neptune, Pluto, 500 years, civilizational undercurrents, Mars, Saturn, 2 years, conflict, restriction, military tempo. And Appendix C is traditional Time Lord and profection rhythms. So Hellenistic and medieval practice added further systemic layers. We see annual profections, one sign house per year, decennials, Verdaria, and other Time Lord systems. These create repeating 12-year, 10-year, and longer rhythms that interlock with the astronomical cycles above. The result is a multidimensional timing architecture rather than a single clock model. And we'll finish the video off with another glossary. I've been doing a lot of these videos lately. So the animalistic month is perigee to perigee, period of the moon. Draconic month is node to node, period of the moon. Generational planet, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, body slow enough to characterize cohorts and epochs. Great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Metonic cycle, 19-year cycle in which lunar phases recur on approximately the same calendar dates. Mutation of triplicity is shift of successive Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions from one elemental triplicity to another. And in the nodal cycle is 18.6-year regression of the lunar nodes through the zodiac. Profection, traditional technique advancing one sign or house per year from a radical point. Return, planetary, transit of a planet back to a single degree, most notable are Saturn and Jupiter returns. Secondary progression, symbolic measure, sidereal period, time for a body to return to the same position relative to the stars. Solar arc, directional arc equal to the secondary motion of the sun, applied uniformly to all points. Synodic cycle, cycle measure from conjunction to conjunction of two bodies of sun and moon. Synodic month, new moon to new moon period. And a systemic cycle, any recurring planetary or symbolic period that structures personal or collective time. Thank you for watching this video with peace and love, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, see you now.